how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Tales from the Darkside. This is Season 4, Episode 17, and this one's entitled Going Native. It originally aired June 19th, 1988, was directed by Ted Gershuny, and stars Kim Greist, John Aprea, and Cynthia David. And overall, this is a pretty interesting episode. It's about a photographer who considers herself an outsider and is studying human beings through the lens of her camera. She appears to think she's an alien, but whether she really is or if this episode's just a metaphor for autism, that's something that you can read into yourself. The episode's a really good character study. It's also dark and moody and feels very experimental. It's a very different story for Darkside, and that's something I can really appreciate them doing. So many Darkside episodes are relatively tropey anthology horror, but when you have Anthology, you can literally take one-offs to do anything you want, so why not really experiment with an episode or two? And overall, I really do appreciate that. Now, that being said, it's not perfect. It has a good character and it has a good atmosphere, but the plot doesn't really go much of anywhere. It pretty much just stays in its mode the whole time without too many twists or turns. I kept expecting this one to swing a little bit harder and it never did, and I just really wish that the plot went somewhere and they pushed it a little better. It's a cool mood, but it just kinda stays there, you know? But I'm not terribly angry at it. I'd rather have an experiment that doesn't quite work out than just doing the same thing over and over again. Overall, this is a cool, interesting, and different episode of Darkside, and I'd say it's definitely worth a watch. But anyway, I do want to talk a bit about the plot to break down and analyze it a little further. I'll be avoiding any major revelations, and I'll be avoiding the end bits, so no major spoilers, but let's go ahead and take a bit of a deeper dive. We open up with a series of this girl's photographs on a projector and her talking about studying the humans and saying, "I should have never gone to that group, it put me in too much danger." We find out our main character is a photographer and she's taking photos of everything she can. Everyday life, people, just snapshots of the human world, trying to capture and preserve and study it. And as this is going on, we get to hear her talking about human life, how humans cluster in cities because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be alone, but they can't really relate to one another. And a lot of times we kind of zone out into a pattern-based zombie state just to not really face true deep emotions. But we also get things like her just referring to humans as another type of people, and her talking about not being comfortable in her own body, and talking about the need to study them. We get implications that she's maybe some sort of an alien. Now, this isn't really a special effects episode, and you're not gonna get anything goofy like her getting on a space call with her boss or anything. You don't really see the sci-fi side, and that leaves it up to interpretation. Is this real? Is this some idea that she just got in her head? Or is the whole episode just one big metaphor? Well, we don't know, but we get to see that she's gone to a therapy group, and the sort of risk-reward with this therapy group is that she can get closer to this small group of interesting people, really get to know them, really get to study them, get to see who they are when they open up. However, they in turn want her to open up, and she's worried that if she does, she might be exposed as an alien. The group's really intense. They're in this big white room and they have like a pillow that they can like punch and yell at. You know, really big, really expressive. The actors probably loved it. But people from this group will actually start showing up at her house. I guess they share each other's addresses. That's a little bit concerning. But we get the therapist saying, "Hey, we really appreciate you. Make sure you come back." And then you get a guy from the group that might have romantic feelings for her. But that of course could be a problem. Romance again, going in a little deeper, doing a more intense study, but also putting herself out there and on the line, and will she accept that? She often criticizes the humans for being lonely, but we know that she herself is very lonely. She's literally the only one of her kind on Earth, but seeking comfort in humans would also mean giving up part of who she is. It's a really interesting idea there. And you also get this cool visual contrast where the therapy room is bright white and her apartment, because she has this photography projector, is constantly dim and dark. Overall, it sets a cool mood. But as I hinted at the top, there is a little bit of story progression. You know, some stuff does happen, and it gets to an ending which is good enough, but I kind of wish that it was pushed more, that the moments were more intense, that we really had time to brew. And I think part of that might be the length of this episode. If we were an hour-long time block, or if we were a full movie, we would really get to know her, and we would have time for that to scale properly and build bigger and bigger. But as much of the story we were able to do, it almost could have been even shorter, and it was just kind of an awkward length of time for this much progress. I don't know, I just wish more had happened in the plot, and I wish that scaling got higher, because the ending of the episode's fine, and it gets the moments that it should get to, but I don't know, I feel like we needed a few more steps to get there, and then getting there would have felt even higher. But you know, whatever. Again, it works well enough. It is moody. I do like the themes and ideas. Not perfect, but better than just another tropey episode. So overall, I did really like it. I just wish we had invested a little bit more into more plot steps, you know? But all that being said, not a classic, but pretty good. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Tales from the Darkside playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about the past episodes of the show, you should be able to click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.